All right, let's start, Dino. Thanks for joining,
Thank-
Dino. It's really appreciated taking your personal time, trying to spend 30 minutes with our colleagues watching us. So to start, start with and everyone who is here to join. I think we are seeing the YouTube streaming here. So hopefully, people will start coming in. Nevertheless, this is going to be recorded and, will be available for the people who are joining us. Right. So today, what we are going to talk about is something really, really critical for anyone's professional and personal life. That is personal branding. For me, personal branding is how others feel when they think of you. That is how when others feel when they see you and interact with you. So it's not a magical science. It's not something very complex. It goes down into very basics where you start looking at your own self and thinking, how could I conduct myself? How could I lead my life? Right? That's what the personal branding is all about. Because whether you are conscious about this topic or not, people around will always judge you. They will always have a judgment, perception about you. Therefore, it's very crucial that we are conscious about it and we start pitching the way we want other people to see us. So with that, Dino, let me welcome you to the show. Again, this is really appreciated because just over a single LinkedIn message, you just said yes to the request, and it's wonderful. I think that's the beauty of professionals around us who are really ready to help the community, right? So, to start the discussion, I want you to give a quick introduction. Tell us who you are, what is your expertise, and what are you doing these days?
Yeah, no problems, Niro. Thanks for having me. Nice to be on your live feed, my friend. And no problems off the one message to come on. Always willing to jump on and have a chat with people and share what I can. But my background's all been about finance, Niro. So business development is a big part of my life and has been for the last 7-8 years. Banking for the last 17 years. But personal branding has sort of come in underneath that over the last, I would say, about 4 to 5 years on a real concentrated level. And also in the sense of helping other people build what their brand looks like, what their brand stands for, how do they optimize what their brand looks like and feels like, and how do they do that. But they're my two passions at the moment. So I obviously live in Brisbane, Australia, and commute between Brisbane and Perth on a personal level. So that's a little bit about me.
All right. Yeah, thanks a lot. It's very concise and make the point. Yeah. So but I actually figured your profile through one of your LinkedIn feeds, LinkedIn Live streams. I saw the passion in you. That's where I thought, why not? I just invite you to have a quick chat about personal branding together and see what we can learn from each other. Right. So my background is I'm an agilist. I'm an agile coach and a agile delivery professional. So I work with organizations, helping them to adopt the agile strategies to make their organization efficient and better. I also take a lot of interest to work with teams and individuals, coach them on the effective ways of working. Right. It's pretty much transitioning from the traditional mindset to an agile and lean mindset, where we focus on the value delivered, than trying to stick to the three project constraints, namely time, cost, and scope. Right. So it's the value. I think even this topic is on that. Right. Why we need to talk about this particular topic, personal branding, is due to the fact that when we work as professionals and individuals and organizations, we need to think how we brand ourselves, how we promote ourselves, how we pitch ourselves, right? How would others perceive us? Is the question that we are trying to answer here, right? Okay, so to start the discussion, I definitely need to start with the definition. What is your definition? What is your definition for the personal brand or personal branding?
You need to actually start with the end game in mind, Niro. So for me, it's where people want to see you. Where do you want to be seen in the marketplace, and what do you want to be known for? So as soon as people say my name, I want them to be thinking 1, 2, maybe 3 topics at best. Okay, so personal branding, finance, business development, all comes into that. Positive impactor. If people are thinking those terms when they're thinking about my name, then that is my branding job done from that perspective. After that, it all becomes around the middle section around your branding. So how do you optimize your brand across 1, 2, 3, 4 different platforms? And I'll get real, Niro, with people watching on what that looks like. Because if people think they can start a personal brand from a base level and have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and do that consistently well and grow all of them, unless you are doing nothing else for 5 or 6 days a week, then maybe you can. Okay? For me to work on my LinkedIn brand by itself outside of the other platform, that takes 2 to 3 hours consistently every single day. Still at this stage.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Great insights. So now, again, my perspective was that where I was hooked into this particular topic was that when I wanted to jump out from my traditional job, right? I mean, I was doing great. I was earning what I'm supposed to earn. It was a good salary, but then I did not have any presence in the community, right? I was not known by my own expert community, that is project management and agile. So when I wanted to reach out to the people, I saw a gap, right? And as you said, it's not just to get famous yourself, right? It's not just sake of going out and saying, hey, I'm building my brand, right? It's for the purpose of reaching my end goal, that is actually helping people around me and working with them, at times educating as well as working with them, trying to help them to become someone better, right? So I think starting from your home to a big enterprise, it's the same theories apply, right? If you want to establish your brand within your family context, you still have to do certain basics, right? You can't mess it up, right? So what I realize is that it's the same principle that applies when you go out. When you are with 1,000 and many people, it's the same principles that apply, right? So you need to start from the root. You need to understand what's your end goal. You need to have the right mindset. So that's why I got hooked into this particular domain. And it's just few years I have spent my time and energy on it, and the results are amazing, right? Because I get a lot of gigs that includes speaking gigs, that includes the coaching engagement, training, all that are coming through the branding that I'm building and optimizing. That's what I feel. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So I think I already touched a bit on the second question.
Good.
So that is basically why aspect. Yeah. So I just want to ask you this specific question, as we all trust that Simon Sinek has said the right thing when he said, "Why first?" Doing anything what we do, what we have to first ask ourselves is why. Why should I build my brand? Is the question, the very first question that anyone should ask, right? I think you touched on it, saying think of the end goal, right? I also mentioned the same thing, right? But again, I want to go a bit deeper and ask you, I mean, tell me just two strong reasons why someone should pay their attention in building their own personal brand.
Okay, so for me, Niro, the two reasons why people should be looking at building their personal brands. One, I think you never know what's happening tomorrow. Okay, well, so for your own situation, particularly now with what's happening around the world, if you might have been employed by a large organization one day and then unemployed the next day. So
very possible.
So the first aspect from that is not knowing everything. So having your brand that when you're wanting to call on whatever it may be to actually build a new career or build an awareness of a project that you're doing, and you have that strong brand, that credible brand in the community, it becomes not easy, but less challenging to do that when people already know who you are. So it's going onto those doors, and instead of picking up the phone and calling a random number nearer, I can actually pick up the phone and call somebody or send them a message on the platform, and you would hopefully that you're targeting the right people, that person already has an indication of who you are and what you do. Okay, so those cold introductions, all of a sudden they become warm, and I think that goes for anybody with a strong brand. Right? And I'm not saying branding needs to be done from a celebrity status.
Yeah.
But if you took the celebrity status as the pinnacle of branding, because if I said to you, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, the actor, nearly everybody in the world, or 99% of people, would know who he is. Yes, he's been on TV and film and all that, but the brand that he has created off the back of those movies, off the back that he continues to do the social media, is phenomenal. Now, obviously, 99 out of 100 people don't have those platforms. So creating those opportunities on what's next, I think, is the number one reason on why you should be building a personal brand. The second one is, and Niro, this probably gets a little bit honest, is some people want to make money off their brand. Not everybody. I certainly... Sorry? I was going, sometimes people want to make money off their brands. And if that is your end goal, then that is okay. It is all about the how you do that to achieve that why. And if you're doing it from a business perspective, does it come from an educational aspect, an informative aspect, the aspect of helping people along your journey? Because building that brand, all of a sudden what you're not doing then is you're not fishing out for opportunities. You're having those opportunities jump into your boat. So there, for me, are those two main reasons on why it's important to build a personal brand, and they go hand in hand. Is having all those opportunities come to you, and the vision of not knowing what's happening tomorrow is critical, because you don't know what's happening in your own life or somebody else's life that you may be able to help with your brand as well. It's not always about yourself. Did that answer the question, Niro?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so just to complement what you said, right? So I also believe that, even I read an article recently. The article is themed, "What if you lose your job today?" So it's a question that we all are worried at this point, right? Due to the crisis happening. The question to all of us, all of you watching us also, is that, what if you lose your job today, right? Are you just, helpless? The established brand at the moment you want to reach out to the people, you have to start from the scratch. You have to start from the ground level, right? So the branding, if you have done some sort of branding, if there is awareness around your community about you, I think that makes your job easier, right? And even, going from that level, people will reach out to you with opportunities. The opportunities that you sometimes don't think even, right? Example, mainly the things like speaking gigs, right? Speaking gigs and coaching gigs. I mean, these are much valuable ones for all of us. Yeah. So the other thing, I truly believe that if you sum up what you have said here, personal branding allows us to enhance our personal image, right? So that's like having a Coca-Cola bottle and a bottle without a label, right?
Yeah,
So
correct.
that's a huge difference. So in my workshops and talks, I used to take two bottles, one with a label, one without a label, right? Now it's obvious that your eyes go to the bottle with the brand, with the label, right, with a reputed brand, and the other bottle probably is in the same caliber, right? We have just removed the label, but the value goes away, right? So yeah, so that's that. And let's go into the next question. The next question that I want to ask you is a real practical question, right? I'm sure a lot of us want to be credible. A lot of us want to build up a brand, but some of us are not really convinced that that's the way to go. Some of us think, if you are competent enough, if you have built your skills and experience, why should I brand myself, right? Why do I go out and try to promote? So that's a bit of confusion around this area, right? So the question, what I want to ask from you is, what steps should I take to start building my personal brand if I want to do so? What are the primary steps that you recommend for anyone who wants to start building the brand?
Okay. The advice I would give them is, again, simply start with, when we say start with your end goal, that doesn't need to be, let me clarify that, Niro, when I say that, because I don't mean for people to look into a crystal ball and think about exactly where they want to be in 5 or 10 years' time. All it needs to be is, when we talk about end goal when it comes to your personal brand, is what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be understood for? Put it that way, Niro. If you were doing a speaking presentation and you walked off stage,
Yeah,
and there were 500 people in the room, what do you want 430 of those people to say about you, right? Because it'll never be 100%, because people make assumptions, they presume things about you. You'll never be a fan for 100 people, and that's part of understanding that if you're going to build that personal brand, there are going to be those obstacles that you need to overcome. But once you have that understanding of how you're going to be envisaged into your community, then work out 3 steps. And the first step is, how do you do that on a consistent basis? Now, that is different for every single person. So I can invest some time in it, maybe more than what somebody else down the road is, and then somebody else down the road can maybe invest double the amount of time that I can do it. Somebody may have a marketing team that they have that can help them. So again, work out the amount of time that you can invest consistently every single day into building your brand. And that goes online branding and offline branding. With Niro, when you're doing speaking presentations or coaching gigs, you're still building your brand there, right?
Yeah.
It's at a different level, but it's always building your brand. When you do every single thing, meeting people, talking to people online, it's all part of your brand. So have a look at how that actually sits in and how much time you can put into it. Then take it a step back further and actually break that time that you can do into face-to-face interactions, into online platforms, and break those online platforms down into understanding which ones you can work on and which ones you can work on very strategically. And if you only have half an hour a day, just do one. Because I would say to do one platform consistently each week will take you at least 1 day a week. Okay? So
sorry, can you come again?
So my view on it is, if you want to work on one platform consistently, it will take you at least a full day per week to work on that platform.
Right.
So even if you're doing 2 or 3 hours a day here, another 3 hours a day there, it will take you a whole week. So I couldn't do LinkedIn in under 5 hours a week.
Right. Okay.
And I think if people think they can put in half an hour, do a post, a couple of comments, and that is your brand done for the week, then for me, that's like saying, hey, I have a wonderful product and I'm going to drop it in here and let people have a look at it, and then you're not going to hear from me again until 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. How many times do you see Coca-Cola advertise, McDonald's advertise? Anything. It's consistent advertising, and your brand is the advertising for yourself. So it's that part of what you need to work out. But then when you've worked out the time and which platform you want to do, make sure you understand those platforms. So do your homework, take the time, do some research, ask some other experts around what those platforms look like and how do they work, and then break out the time onto you need to create then your content onto getting the right image and the right credibility out in the market. And then you need to engage in your content as well as other people's contents.
All right.
So again, that takes a lot of time, but I think you need to break all of those boxes down when you're starting your brand. And then it becomes a habit. And then every day you just do it as you would do going to get lunch. Okay. How do you look at that? So I wanted to ask you the same question. If somebody's building that brand from scratch, and let's say it's on YouTube. Let's flip the switch a little bit, because you do very well on YouTube, right? And I'm just starting on that channel. So maybe you can give us an example. If somebody wanted to do video content and pump up their videos and work on YouTube and try and monetize their channel, what's your advice to them?
Yeah, I mean, I like that question because I'm in the same learning journey as you do. So I wasn't focusing a lot on YouTube, but recently, I created my channel 3 years ago. 6 months ago, I just wanted to push harder on that, right? So I managed to cross the 1,000 limit. Now I'm chasing for the 4,000 hours limit to monetize. Yeah, I think anyone who goes through branding, I think has to go through 3 stages. Number 1 is setting up the basic branding, right? So that is where you have to get the basics right. So your vision clarified, clarity on what exactly your end goal is. Second, one thing very crucial for me is that, this is coming from my professional agile background called value proposition. Now, as an individual, we need to be really critical about our individual value proposition, right? When we talk about value proposition, we talk about 3 things. Number 1, what are the needs that we are trying to sort out, right? Because when you create a YouTube channel, if you don't see a big demand in the market, you're not going to do great there. So you need to figure out a niche area probably, right? A very critical need that people are really looking for, right? The second thing is in that niche area, if you ask, okay, what are the gain creators? What are the gain creators that I can invest my energy on? Now, gain creators will solve, will benefit the users with the gains, right? These are the gains that they want because they are not problems for them, but this is an additional value-adding thing for them, right? Something like buying something that you really don't need, but when you see it, you get that, right? Because that's a value addition, right? So there will be a lot of value addition. For example, one value addition would be helping people to enhance their knowledge on something. It's never a pain point, right? For many, right? It's just a complementary and additional thing that everyone wants to do. So focus on that. And third one is pain points. Every one of us have pain points, and our first attention is on the solutions that are that are trying to solve those pain points. So as an individual, I think we need to have a balance around these three value propositions. First, needs, solving the needs. They are like basics, right? So if you try to solve the basic needs, you may do well. Second, gain creators. What are the benefits, value-adding things that you can do for your people, right? People around you. Third aspect is pain points. Those are the pain relievers. You are a pain reliever, and you have solutions for that, right? So I think from there, then you look at the optimization. I think for me, optimization has to happen offline as well as online, mainly online. right? That is when you realize you are not allowed to mess up in any level, right? No kiddish Facebook post, no, silly challenge taking, right? You're not gonna scream out in front of people, right? So all those silly things have to be avoided, and I'm really particular about things like even the privacy level. Now, while you're trying to build your brand, you probably try to mess up on your privacy, right? Have you exposed unnecessary information to the public, right? You got to go through your social media profiles and then do that validation, right? Then look at the other things like have you optimized your LinkedIn, have you optimized your YouTube, have you optimized your channel? All that have to happen. But I think the starting point is not that. Starting point is getting the basics set up, ensuring that we understand what really we want, and how we should conduct ourselves at the initial stages. Because the moment people realize that you are authentic, you are really genuine in sharing your knowledge, that's the real hook, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where I was able to grow up to 1,000+ users so far, right? It's still a challenge, right? There are people who are doing absolutely greater than that, but I think it's a learning journey for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And on that point as well about growing that community, whichever platform you use, don't be in a hurry to do it, because like Niro, I think you hit that nail on the head. If you're going to be genuine and authentic and all those wonderful words, it's about being yourself, right? Don't try and be someone else or try and talk about something that you're not very good at, because people can understand when you're bullshitting somebody, right? And you're not very good at it. It comes across that.
Yep.
So I think people need to understand it is a journey. You're not going to build a big community in a week. It does take time. And for people that have those larger than average communities online, I'll always call them communities, not followers, Niro. I hate that word. It takes, you always ask them, it'll always take a year, 2 years, 3 years. And it's always building on that journey. But then once you get to a certain level, the quickness of growing that community becomes even greater or even faster, because more people are seeing you. Obviously, you have that big trickle-down effect, and people are going, oh, he obviously has a big community for a reason. Let me have a look. I like watching Niro. He's honest. He's giving me some benefit around being agile and learning to adapt to new ways and think differently. I don't mind watching one of his videos every week for 10 minutes. It's probably better than me watching Netflix for 10 minutes. So it's, like you said, it's all about that value add and how do you do that. But people need to break it down and sometimes stop doing branding off the whim. So stop thinking about, I haven't done anything. I'll do something today. And that's where you let the quality down. Invest the time into planning and creating your content, even if it's just written post or picture post or photo or video, whatever it is. Put some time into doing it and just do it the best that you can. It doesn't have to be perfect with the right lighting and background and all of that. It's more about what you're doing and how you're delivering it is how people want to do it, and that consistency piece. So do it. If you're going to do it daily, do the level consistently high every single day, because it's you, right? You want people to be able to ring and go, hey, can we talk? And you go, yes. And you go, you put another little tick next to your brand, because someone goes, oh, he was happy for me to have a chat with him for 5 minutes. But if I kept saying to you, Niro, I'm going to do any live requests that come my way for the next 3 months. I'm happy to jump on everyone. And then if every single person asks me and I go, no, each person, my brand goes like there's a big cross next to my name when it comes to those persons. And that person then talks to 10 other people in the group and go, hey, I was asking Dino, said he'll do it, never did it. Right? So anything that you can is positive, and you can give a tick next to your name, next to your brand with those people, even if it's one person. All right? Yep. That's it. Then you've done something good for your brand that day. It doesn't have to be across 5,000 people. And absolutely. I think a lot of people get that. They go, if it's not going viral, then my brand's not as valuable as it is. Forget about that. Just do it, because the amount of people that still see it and may not like or may not comment on it, is even sometimes more than the people who do comment on it.
Very true, Dino. Yeah, so this is something that I've learned also, right? So when I post a video, right, it may be just 50 people who comment and react, but when I go out, pretty much everyone say, "Hey, I see you on LinkedIn, and it's great, wonderful content, keep doing." My question is, why don't you react to the post, right? But that's the person, right? But ultimately, I have been able to reach out to them, deliver some contents that they think valuable. So. Whether they respond to the post, put their loves and vows and reactions, is secondary, right? So I think it's the value that we try to deliver. It's kind of the wisdom that we are going to share, right? If you do believe we have something to share, right? It might be something helping someone. That's my learning, right? So okay, so. Great discussion so far. Just a time check. We are running over time. Are you okay to spend like 15 minutes?
Of course, my friend. No problem.
All right. Okay. So the next question, again, a very critical question for anyone who wants to build their presence in digital media. So I want to ask you, can you tell me the top 3 digital platforms that you recommend everyone should get in if they want to start building their brand?
Okay, it's an interesting question, and Niro, it's interesting for me because I think there could be a different answer for every single person you ask.
Right.
So I think once you've worked out that why and your purpose, then I think you need to work out where the best platform is to shine the light onto what you do and your brand. So. If I give you the quick example, so personally, LinkedIn I use more than any other platform out there. And then I would probably say Instagram and Facebook come under those 3. I'm slowly working on my YouTube channel now, even though it's been for years. But given the extra time we have at the moment, like everybody, I'm trying to do something every single day and invest into that channel and learn a little bit more about YouTube, find new people to collaborate with and all those wonderful things. So there's probably 4 platforms for me. But then if I was to ask somebody that has just finished high school, right, and they want to start, they go, oh, this brand is actually important rather than me just going on TikTok. Right? And maybe a platform for them or Snapchat. But they go, hold on, if I want to go into real estate, and they want to go into the real estate market, then Facebook would probably be a good one for them. LinkedIn would probably be a good one for them. Again, they may do something different on TikTok on how they actually show homes and how they sell homes. Right? So that's completely different from somebody who may be a little bit more mature in the market or somebody who's in completely different industries. And I'm saying everybody in the industry should have a brand. But if you're a chef and you wanted to build that brand, would you be choosing LinkedIn over Facebook and Instagram? You would probably choose Instagram first because it's such that big platform on photos and short videos. But then YouTube would also be a big one if you're showcasing your skills into what you're going to be able to cook. So I think a lot of that comes down to the individual person, but work out where the audience is. But I think that comes down to understanding what each platform can give you as well. Right? Because I know Facebook and Instagram gives me this much in comparison to what LinkedIn gives me.
Absolutely.
Right? Again, that's only because I put more time into LinkedIn. If I stop LinkedIn and put more time in Instagram, I'd probably get the same results. But I'm okay with that because I don't have 24 hours in a day where I can work across 4 platforms. I probably have those 4 or 5, if you're lucky sometimes, and I get more opportunities and more value out of the community that I'm building across LinkedIn. So I'm glad that's growing, but again, it takes time. So how do you see that? Because you're a little bit different with maybe the agile coaching and the speaking gigs that you do. Are you finding still LinkedIn as your top one, or is YouTube now becoming a lot more
LinkedIn? LinkedIn is the top one in terms of building the audience that I really want to work with, the potential audience, I would say. LinkedIn comes at the top for sure because it is a professional network, and that's one of the best platforms we have for professionals. and every professional is also maintain that quality, right? So you are not allowed to mess up. The moment you put a messy content there, people will resist, and you are not going to do it again. So that, for that reason, it's really great. And obviously, almost all the training gigs and coaching engagements, even the speaking gigs, happen through LinkedIn, right? YouTube, of course, is another great platform. It's a very different one, right? I think it's the way YouTube works is totally different than how LinkedIn and any other platform works. I mean, it's the excitement, it's the consistency, as you said, right? That drives you into the numbers. For me, it's a major focus at this point. As you said, I do not have a lot of time to spend creating videos daily. So I try to create maybe weekly contents out of the speeches and the trainings that I do, right? The third thing, for me is a medium. So if you go there, right, so there is something called publication. Absolutely great tool. You can build your website like profile there, right? For example, let's say you want to have a separate page. It's like a page. You can have a tabular view where you have multiple pages. So perfect place to showcase your blogs, videos, and the kind of the contents that you create. So I have done that very recently. That is fantastic, right? And it's a huge audience. It's a huge audience for those who want to get into the content creation.
Good tip. Good tip. Hey, Niro, something off topic is that a trophy behind you?
Yes, that's my daughter. One of my daughter's one of the trophies. That's like when she used to play karate, actually.
Ah, lovely. I recognise the trophy because my daughter used to do the karate, and I sort of recognise the shape of the trophy. Hence your question: does she still do the karate?
No, she's unfortunately not continuing due to study schedules. Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
And I'm glad it was a karate because that's where I was hoping it was, because again, branding is a lot like the art of karate, right? In the sense of karate takes a lot of commitment, a lot of discipline, and a lot of persistence, because God, the amount of hours you need to put in, right? To get from a white belt to the yellow belt, and then I think it's green after that.
Yeah.
To get to each belt can take a year to 2 years. So the commitment that you need to put in is phenomenal, and that you need to grow. But that noise was just my laptop. That's running low on charge, and I don't have the plug for it.
Correct. Very true. You are breaking up a bit. The connection wasn't so great for the last few seconds.
Okay, can you hear me again?
Yeah, should be good.
I was just saying, Niro, that was my laptop was saying that I only have about 6 minutes left before it dies on me, and I'm in the room with the charger, unfortunately, so I won't leave. I have a few minutes left.
No worries, Dino. Okay, so let's have a look at LinkedIn. Dino, are you in a position to? Maybe I'll try as well LinkedIn and see whether we have any questions. So everyone, if you are watching this stream, please do post your questions. We would like to take a few questions from you on personal branding. Also, if you want to talk about personal agility, that is basically applying agile concepts into your personal growth, please feel free to drop those questions as well. So let's have a look at YouTube. Ruchira, thanks for joining. And Ruchira says, great insight. We're glad that you like the contents.
Yeah.
Not right. So
I'm taking that we've covered a lot of content here that people probably don't have questions about. Maybe we've hit
sorry.
a lot of points, but I'm saying maybe there's not too many questions. We've hit maybe a lot of points as well, and I think that's probably good that people can rewatch this from your channels as well and have a look at it. And I'll download the copy as well. In case they have any questions afterwards. We seem to get a lot from live sessions as well.
All right. Yeah. So Dino, you want to mention your YouTube channel? So how do people find your channel?
Yeah, so it's just if you just search under Dino Pacella and put no spaces on there, it'll be the first one that pops up. Same photo if you follow me across LinkedIn, so the same profile photos across all my social medias, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn that you follow. And if you just basically put in the search under my name, it should be there.
Okay, so let me do this. Let me put that link in the screen. On this screen actually. So let me put it as a comment, maybe a banner.
Awesome.
So here is Dino's channel.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah. So you can find Dino's YouTube channel through that URL. Jump in, subscribe. I'm sure you are going to enjoy the contents. It's absolutely game-changing content. So that's where I found him. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, you can simply find me just typing Niro Madampitige and my name will pop up. So subscribe, and I'm gonna post contents time to time, mainly on personal branding as well as agile. Mainly, my focus is on agile, but I do have contents about personal grooming, personal excellence / personal branding. Yeah. So with that, let's touch on a few more questions, Dino, if you are okay. Now I just want to get into a very important topic in terms of branding, right? So I have studied this. I started studying this some time back, and then I found that in terms of personal branding, if you put everything into the basics, right? I can say there are 3 pillars of it. If anyone wants to build a greater personal brand, these 3 pillars have to be there, because these pillars will hold the whole weight of everything else that you're going to do as an individual, building your personal brand, right? So they are, give you insight on it, right? So I'm just going to put these 3 things across. First one, building a basic brand, right? As we said, you have to focus on a very basic brand, right, that you are happy of. So what is your basic brand? What are your human values? What are the things that you're going to do, right? When others think of you, what comes to their mind, right? When they see you and start interacting with you, what are you telling them, right? Example, right? When I say, I know that you are a finance professional, you are a personal branding coach, right? When you see me, you may think of a similar manner, right? And that's where I wanted to ensure, I emphasize that I'm a project management and agile professional, right? That's my core, right? From there, I try to build my brand and then help people around me. So that's the basic branding that I'm talking about. The second thing is 2 aspects, right? Building the credibility and building an audience. So if you build your personal brand, you have to gain credibility. You have to establish credibility. Second, you have to have an audience as well, right? What's your audience? You have to focus on it. The third is targeting opportunities. Yeah. So why we need to build the branding is to get there, right? So targeting the potential opportunities. Now, when I say opportunities, it's not just financial opportunities itself, right? They may be one, but in terms of sharing your valuable knowledge with others, in terms of going and sharing. Yeah. Is it the power playing?
Yeah. Keep going. Sorry, I didn't want to cut off.
Yeah. So the third thing is target opportunities, Dino. So I just want to ask your opinion on it. So for me, 3 pillars. Number one, building a basic brand. Second, trying to develop credibility. When people think of you, they know that you are credible on this particular domain. Second, finding the audience that is really relevant. So you don't just throw contents everywhere, right? Do a target audience focused content creation, right? When you create content, there is an audience ready for your content, right? Others may join in, but there is a core audience that is for you. Third is targeting opportunities. So any comments on it? Anything that you want to add?
I would probably just share a little bit on your first point around when you're starting to create that brand and that credibility. And again, if you're just starting, then I think each of those areas that you mentioned, Niro, have their own little sets of pillars. And if you're just starting or you're building a brand for the last 3 years, I think you need to have the pillars. I always called it around a PPE strategy that I always used. So like on having around preparation, posting, and engagement, around what those 3 pillars look like in regards to your brand. So again, it was having that time to prepare the right content. So you're hitting the right audience across the different platforms that you're going to be utilizing. Is how do you prepare that content and that right content? How do you know do you even know the platforms? When is the best time for you to post? So if you were posting on Facebook in comparison to LinkedIn, does the message need to change a little bit? Does the picture need to change? And does the time of the post going out need to change? So how well do you do that? And then thirdly, on that little pillar is around the engagement. And I read somewhere, it's not my saying, that engagement is a great way to say, hey, look at me, without saying, hey, look at me.
Right.
That's not mine. I can't remember who said that at the moment, but it is a fantastic way to engage and add your credible opinions, add your value opinions onto other people's content. So if I'm seeing something that sits in my area of expertise and I know that is well, and there's another layer that maybe that person didn't think of, do it, add value, but do it in a professional way and in a positive way. Don't ever do it in a way that you're putting somebody down from the content they're producing, because again, that is a big cross next to your brand name. And I tell you what, if you just imagine that you're carrying around these 2 cups every day, right? One has a green tick on and one has a red cross. Your goal is to fill up the one with the green ticks around your brand. Doesn't matter what you're doing. I don't care if it's helping a lady cross the road. Tick next to that. And if you get back at night and it's 6, 7 o'clock from work or whatever time it is, and you go, oh my God, I actually did a couple of things that were against my brand, then you need to get out the cup with the red crosses and start again, because it's going to take you double the amount of time to put double the amount of green ticks in there to warrant the ones that you offset around the crosses. Hopefully that makes sense in what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You can't, it's those little things is what I'm trying to say, those little points around doing everything small, because they all add up. It's, I don't know if people had grandparents that always used to give them advice on how to save money. My grandfather was always like, here's 5 cents. I was that teenager going, what's 5 cents going to do? What's 5 cents going to buy me? And he goes, you put away 5 cents every day, and then put away 10 cents every day next week, and then 20 cents. How much are you going to have? And I wish I did that when I was 10, because now I'm 43. and I would have had thousands and thousands of dollars if I'd listened. Same with the brand. Little, and then 2 or 3 years, you'll get to the spot that it'll grow by itself. Well, you still need to do work, but it'll grow bigger by itself than what it would do if you're just starting at zero. But that was a long explanation to my pillars, Niro. But there's so much to branding. It's hard to put it even into a 60-minute broadcast. There's a lot.
I know. Okay. Cool. So I think we that's all we have the time perspective. My last question, I want to end up this with one more tip for the people who are watching us. Now, when I coach people, when I even do agile coaching, I always insist that people should start looking into their branding perspective, right? When you talk to someone, ensure that you talk the way you want others to see you, right? If you want to, if you want other people to see you as a very brave, courageous person, you got to act that way, right? So what I'm going to say is, the branding is very crucial for all of us. There are many ways of building and optimizing your brand. Out of the many strategies that I have come across, one great strategy that I have seen is branding by association. I just want to ask your opinion on it. Tell me how how could someone use this strategy, branding by association, practically in LinkedIn as a platform?
That is actually a great question, because not too many people think about their branding in association either with another product or another person. And is that where you're going with the question, Niro?
Yes.
I think as well, if you're going to brand by association, then it needs to be the right people that align with your brand, right? Not that I hate it, but I'm not a big fan of when I see people collaborate with other people because one person has 1 million followers and the other person has 1,000. Yeah. Okay. And they do two different things, and their talk is very off point and very difficult to watch. Yeah. So again, you have to go on the show, have a look. So when you did ask me to come on, first thing I did was obviously read through the profile, had a look at the YouTube channel, watch the videos, and I go, yeah, more than happy to jump in. He's got the same mindset as me. But if you were completely different around and you wanted to talk about, I don't know, building a shed at the back and how to actually build it with the nails, I'm not a handyman. So that, for me, that would be useless because I couldn't add any value. But I think, again, particularly if you're on Instagram and you've got a large following and there's a business that asks you to collaborate with them on a product, again, is that product in line with what your brand is saying? Right? Because if it's not, people can tell very, very quickly you're just doing it either for the money or to get more people following you. And again, for me, I think that's a little red cross that you're putting in that cup. It doesn't do your brand any justice. So associate your brand with the right people, collaborate with the right people, engage on the post on the right post. Right? My grandfather always said, and I keep referring to him more now than any, I think, probably the time we have to think. But he always used to tell me, if you have nothing nice to say, either make something nice or shut up. And he would say, it has a better ring to it in Italian when he used to say it, but he would say that, and then he would give me the look, and the look would be like, and he would just, yeah, okay, I understand, and that I've never let that go. So, and I think my mother, which was her father, has the same mentality. She just says, you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything, which so many people say that, but my grandfather just added that extra bit, like create something nice to say. Or if you can't create, so it's just a different level. But I think you need to create it. If I was adding on, I think you need to create it from, I'll be honest as well. I don't think you can be fake and lie to people just to do your brand justice and their brand justice, because that's not going to do anyone any good. So, I'm keen to get your thoughts on that one, Niro. When you're branding by association, you were asking me across LinkedIn, because I do a lot of time on that. You've spent a lot of time on YouTube recently and growing the follower count and the subscribers to a good level. How do you do that on YouTube then? Because I see a lot of YouTubers collaborating with other big YouTubers so they can get the community bigger. But if somebody's just starting on YouTube, what would you recommend to them?
Okay. Yeah. So a few recommendations. A few things that I started doing is actually I started talking to guys who are more knowledgeable on the platform, right? Who told me, hey, Niro, there are these ways of optimizing the SEO. The contents have to be consistent, all that, right? Even the quality of the videos and the sound plays a major role there. Particularly now, I tend to believe, I used to believe that creating the shortest videos is the way to go, but that's a bad strategy, because people just watch 30 seconds video and leave, right? They're not going to even subscribe. So if you have a lengthy, more valuable, more intensive content, that's a great way to hook the audience, and they realize, okay, this is a great session. I would have paid some dollars to get this kind of insights. So that's one thing that changed my game. And also I interviewed people like you, Dino. So I think when I asked that question, branding by association, I also meant collaboration, right? Of course, there are different angles that we can look at it. You can look at a person who has million followers and say, hey, let me collab with this guy, right? Because I can build my brand through this guy. I mean, that's one way of thinking. But I'm more inclined towards the thinking where if we collaborate, we merge our audience as well, right? In this context, what happens is, right, those who do not know from my audience, my network, get to know you, right? Those who do not know me, right, also get to know me, right? So I mean, that's the magic about it. And from there, it's everything is happening, and it's through collaboration, right? It's a learning process for both of us. When you realize I have better knowledge than me, then you start telling me and mentoring me, coaching me as well. So there are a lot of opportunities that can happen there, right? It's mainly around going out and spreading the word as well. So one thing that I have to still incorporate into my videos is the invitation to subscribe. As you start the video, hey, I'm so and so, please do subscribe to my channel. I do not do that at this point, right? Also, at the end, you have to say it loud. Otherwise, just putting a link, people are not going to click that, right? So they may value your contents. It's just that they're too lazy to do so, right? So when they see that it's a straight message, right, direct message asking, hey, let's jump in, support my channel, and this is why I'm asking you to subscribe. That's a great way to grab that attention. I think these things started working. So I constantly post the things in big groups. I recently joined some of the private professional groups on agile space, as well as entrepreneurship space, right? I do constantly post the contents and I invite people to subscribe. I think those are some of the things that really started working for me.
Yeah, great, good, really good advice across YouTube. And you're right. The one that stood out, Niro, was when people are direct in saying, hey, hit the subscribe button. But if it's at the end, they're going, hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you really enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. We'll see you next time. And
I hate it. And yeah, so it's like it's playing with the psychology, right? People make emotional decisions, right? So we drive their emotions and get them to just click it, right? So sometimes they don't even think of it, right? Because the moment they started realizing, oh, this is great content, then we put that message, hey, hit the subscribe button, and people just click it, right?
Yeah, so very good point. I'm glad I did ask that question.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. So I think that's it. We have consumed more time than what we wanted to consume, but I think the content is absolutely great. Those who are going to watch us post this live streaming, please do comment if you see any value. If you find any takeaway, right? Just tell us what are your takeaways from this discussion, because it's an encouragement for us. It's a learning for us as well. We of course had certain intentions in sharing what we share here, but it would have hit it differently to your mind. Your takeaways might be totally different than what we wanted you to, take away. So, thanks a lot for your time. It's really, really great to have this discussion with you. More than that, it's really appreciating the way you kind of responded. Trust me, I'm doing this with many people. It's very few people who will be really reception, just like you did. So you figure that this is a win-win discussion. This is a discussion where we can benefit the people around us, right? Help them and maybe share our insights, whether it's helping them or not. So thanks again for that, right? So again, guys and girls, if you're watching until this point, please do subscribe to Dino's YouTube channel. Send him he can't accept any connections on LinkedIn. He has crossed 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. I, of course, I have just 10,000. So you can send me connection request, but you can follow Dino on LinkedIn, and you can subscribe him on YouTube. Do so. Subscribe my channel as well. That's all what we got to offer for the day. And Dino, final words? Any
Stay strong, Niro. Stay strong.
Yes. Thanks a lot for your time. Cheers. Thank you. See you soon. Yeah.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.